Boost Your BIM video shows how to create walls by face and mass floors for all faces of a selected mass instance. First we'll run the macro, select a mass instance, and you can see that mass walls have been created, or face walls have been created on the four non-horizontal faces, and additionally mass floors have been created for all levels in the project. Now let's take a look at the code. Start off by prompting the user to select a family instance. We then find the wall type, which is the 6-inch masonry generic wall, using the filtered element collector, this link and lambda expression. We need to create an instance of the options class so that we can set compute references to true. This is necessary because we'll need the reference of the faces to create the face walls. We then start a transaction. We'll iterate through all solids in the geometry of the face wall, shown here, where we use this expression to get only the solids from the geometry, and we then cast the objects to a solid so that we can then iterate the faces using the solid.faces property. We check if the face is valid for creation of a wall using the static method on the face wall class is valid face reference for face wall. If it's not valid, then we continue to the next face in our loop. If it is valid, we create a wall by specifying the document, the element ID of the wall type, the location line of the wall, and the reference to the face. After creating all the face walls, we then go through and create the mass floors. We iterate through every level in the building design and call the static method on the mass instance utils class, which is add mass level data to mass instance, passing the document, the element ID of the mass family instance, and the ID of the level. Looking at this in action on a couple more masses, we'll see here that masses are created on this sloped, or face wall that's created on this sloped wall, in addition to the 4 side walls of this triangle, or truncated pyramid. If we look at this arch shape, you can see on the right hand side I've created some of the mass walls manually by hand, and if I go and create an additional wall by face on the front face at this point, Revit gives this error, can't keep wall extended to wall. We see that same error if we use the API, showing us that that error is not specific to the API, but instead related to Revit's wall joining code, and occurs whether we use the API or the regular Revit user interface.